the mind of ourselves. We are must be the self-control. To self-control. We must control our mind out in myself. You understand?
Not only understand, but I'm going to challenge it with what you just said. Do you know self-control?
Yeah.
Is not something that anybody can have.
Yeah, so
When you have self-control, if you have the ability to control yourself, then I want to ask you, then who is really, in charge? When you say, I will control myself, well, if yourself is you, and why you want to control yourself? I mean, with what principle to control yourself is the key. Because, this is our body.
Yeah.
And then our body has needs. Well, I'll give you a real example. Okay, if the person really, want to eat a lot of meat, and his whole body wants meat, and then he walks around, he wants to find the meat, so he will go and kill a chicken to get meat, right? And so you tell him, control yourself not to have meat, don't eat meat, and he will say, forget about you, because I'm hungry and my body tells me want to have meat. I'm gonna go get meat, and the only way I'm gonna be able to get meat is to kill a chicken or a fish. He has to kill something to eat the meat, right? So you say you control yourself. The key is that how you're gonna be able to let people control themselves not to do something that their innate calling from their current level, their body terribly want to smoke a cigarette. You say, control yourself not to smoke a cigarette. Is that going to be able to work? Just tell him, control yourself. It's not going to work. That's the problem that I'm saying, that, this self-control, where is the power that allow a person to control himself? Where that power comes from?
That is, we need cultivation. We need cultivation.
Okay, when you say we need cultivation,
Yeah.
then why cultivation can help people to have that power to control themselves? I'm asking you where that energy comes from that can make a person to go away from something that is wrong. The person want to kill, the person want to smoke, the person want to do homosexuality and a drug. What is that energy that can pull that person away and let them be disciplined not to do bad things? Where that energy comes from?
So
You're gonna have to have energy for, the energy is pulling why people want to have meat, because there is a force inside of him is pulling him to do it. There is an energy that's pulling someone to do wrong things. But if you want people to not to do wrong things, you also need to have another energy that can pull that person away from the wrongdoing, correct? Otherwise, why the person will follow another way? Either you go, okay, a person, gravity. When you jump out of the earth, you're gonna fall right back onto the earth. Why? Because gravity, right? There is a force that keep on pulling people down to be stand, walk on the earth. If you want to leave earth, it's not easy. You have to be pulled by another force to take off, correct?
Correct.
That's what I'm talking about. So when we want to help people, to do right things, then we need to have this energy to empower the person to leave the wrong pattern of behavior. It's not about we tell them, be disciplined. We need to tell them the truth. That's what I'm telling you about. You need to give the person the energy, the truth that can pull him away from the wrongdoings. That's why moral education is not just telling people what to do. Also requires us to tell people how, why they need to do something different. I think that's very, very important. And that's what I want to challenge you, because when you teach this lesson, although only 8 characters, definitely you have to explain to them something, I believe. You know what that something is? You know this character 字, the first one, self.
Yeah.
Self. A lot of people don't know what is self. That's a problem. We have to tell people what is self, what is non-self. Self versus non-self, key. That's what I want to point it out. Yeah, without that clarity, this moral lesson is not going to do anything to people. People need to really understand what is self, what is non-self. Differentiate it. Then they will say, I want to be myself. Right?
Yeah.
Then they will be good. Yeah. I think that's very important to be clear. Let me practice a little bit too. Okay.